One. Hello, chefs. Good afternoon. My name is Isaiah Gerrard, and I'm a student at the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. You're listening to a unique podcast where we will discuss tough yet real topics that need to be heard in the industry. Today, I have the honor of sitting with two great mentors of mine that have helped inspire me throughout my culinary journey thus far. In this call, we will discuss the importance of mentorship and how it is essential to creating culinary icons and leaders that will leave their mark in the industry. I'm excited to get started and jump right in. So without further ado, I will let Chef Lam introduce himself.
Good morning, greetings from Boston. And I just want to thank everyone for their busy schedule and time to sign up and listen to this podcast. And my journey right now is pretty simple, pretty boring, but pretty exciting. And think about what we're talking about. We're talking about mentor and mentee. And I wanted to be an engineer growing up, but then I realized it was boring. So I became a chef. Then I realized the beauty of being a chef is that you connect with people. I graduated from Newberry College with a culinary degree. Then from there, it started. Working at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Boston. And guess what? The only position they had in the main kitchen was employee cafeteria. So that was my first position. Talk about ground level. I started there, worked my way up, had some great mentors who really showed me and educated what was fine dining, what was French cuisine, what was mise en place. And from there, became a chef at Cannabis Inn, Harvard Club, hotels, country clubs, restaurants. And now, what do? Well, my purpose right now is the cooking is the easy part. The hardest part is having a mentee understand how they tap into their art, their passion, their desire, their energy. And that is a very, very challenging task because not everyone could be a mentor and not everyone could be a mentee. So being a mentee, it's like your parents telling you, hey, clean your room. And you're like, no, Dad, I'm not going to clean my room. All right. Now you go to college. Now you have bad habits. So now, further ado, the next.
Thank you, Chef. Yeah, so Chef Ashten, give your introduction.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Super excited to be here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chef Ashten Garrett. So I'm currently a research and development chef de partie and a culinary specialist working with the Thomas Keller Restaurant Group here in Napa, California. I've went to Johnson & Wales, studied there for 2 years in North Miami, Florida, as well as in Florence University in Florence, Italy. So I was been in many different places. Just super excited to be here today, talking about mentorship and being a mentee. Luckily, I'm both right now, so I'm a mentee and a mentor to so many, and it's just a great spectrum of feelings and a great spectrum of really just education and networking. To Chef Lam's point, really being in this industry and profession, it connects you to so many different people that you didn't even think that, could be in your purview on an international and global level. So to kind of have that ability to see different cultures, to speak with different people from different places, I really can't think of a profession that embodies that more than the culinary and hospitality profession. So very excited to be here today, talking with you all, and we're just going to have some fun and let's get it started.
Thank you, Chef. So as you guys see, we have two great chefs on this call, amazing people, and very special to me. So the topic that we will be discussing today is a very important topic and something that is not talked about enough. Mentorship is a crucial part to success and has greatly impacted my life and has helped guide me in the choices I make on a daily basis. We all have one mentor in particular that has been there for us through thick and thin, through the good times and through the bad times. So this leads us to our first question. The question is an open-ended question for all panelists to answer. Who was one of your greatest mentors and what impact did they have on your life?
Chef Lam, you want to take it?
Well, this one's easy right here because, this question was always asked to me when I started and where I am right now. And I have different mentors because different mentors has different purpose in life. And to me, the first one were my parents. And why do I say that is think about the industry we're in, culinary hospitality. So that means you're serving others. You're making others happy. You're making their day. And if you think about it, my parents taught me what it takes when it's the good, bad, and ugly. And one was, hey, I grew up in Chile, Santiago in South America. Then from there, immigrated to Boston. Then I saw my parents as a first generation immigrant coming in here. And it was challenging. It was tough. It was hard. It was painful. But then I saw my parents when it came to mealtime, that whatever they made, it was amazing. Whatever they made, whatever the ingredients were, they brought it to life with love. I never had a bad meal from my parents. And my parents were self-taught chefs. Mm-hmm. So right there taught me, okay, great. You go to culinary school, you go these two amazing programs, but it doesn't teach you heart. It doesn't teach you what it takes to really open up. And that's where a mentor comes in. And my other mentor, my parents taught me how to turn food into love. The Ritz taught me how to take mise en place and now add discipline, structure in the French training cuisine. But then my next mentor was the man who taught me body, mind, spirit, and food, Bruce Lee. And to me, I realized growing up, martial art is such an important part as a chef, because what it does is it grounds you, it humbles you, and also creates guardrails. And without guardrail, whoever your mentors are, if you don't have the guardrails, eventually you will self-destruct. And we hear stories in our industry, amazing people, amazing chef, they get addicted to, alcohol, drugs, hanging around with the wrong crowd. The next thing you know, they're talented, but then suddenly that bad habit gets them. So to me, I look at a mentor in a different avenue than most people. But those are my mentors that help me along the way and where I am right now, and I share this with others.
Thank you, Chef. Yeah. I love what you said about putting love in the food. That's like the key ingredient. So, Chef Ashten?
Absolutely. And Chef, to your point, I was actually in Chile, Santiago, Chile last year. We were there for the Vocal Store America's Selection. So beautiful country. Honestly, it was the landscape, it was everything. But kind of just to flow off what you said, my mentors specifically, I categorize them in 3 tiers. So I one for family, one for my career, and then one that I look at from a global standpoint or from like a far standpoint. Right? You mentioned Bruce Lee, so I mentioned in that. So the first is family. Without a doubt, my parents are kind of landscape and mold who you are, especially from your early onsets, right? You mentioned being an immigrant and learning different things, especially around the kitchen table. And for me, it was my very, very first beginnings as a 3-year-old. They bought me an Easy Bake Oven. And that kind of just ignited so many different things, right? Just the creativity to see something transform in this small little oven, makeshift oven rather, and it comes out this beautifully elegant, delicious pastry. So that was really my beginning. And then after that, they kind of caught on to that. And I think a parent's job, of course, I'm not a parent right now, but a parent's job is to really make sure that their child gets to A to B and in a way that they can progress and then, pass that on. So my parents for sure have been absolutely instrumental in my career profession. A chef by the name of Chef Stephen Beatty, and he got me started when I was in high school. We were just kind of getting the ACF, the DECA programs, things like that. I was just kind of getting my feet wet, but I knew that this was my career. I knew that I wanted to do this. And I knew that it was special to me and I had a passion, a purpose for it. And he caught that, from across the room, complete strangers, but he just came up to me and then just really, really held my hand through different things. And I met him on a whim. We were just at a networking event and he saw and I heard his story and I went up to him. We connected. And I think that's very important if I can just, kind of go off on something. But as a mentee, it's your job to reach out to your mentor, right? It's to seek a mentor. Like, nothing's going to fall into your lap. And I think that's very important to say across all spectrums, whether whatever profession or industry that you're in, you need to seek someone out. If there's a place that you want to be, you have to take that initiative to figure out who's going to help you get there. And, for me, it was just walking up and introducing myself and telling them about my passions and professions or purpose. And we just had a lot of fun and continue to this day. And the greatest thing about being a mentee and a mentor is that you go from that level where it's like profession and it's very, very standard. And then now we're friends, and then having that ability to kind of be on that same level and have that conversation is very important. And we can talk things outside of our profession, which again is a definite good thing to have in conversation. Isaiah, you and I are the same way. We started off as mentee mentors, and now we're on that level where we're colleagues and we're starting to become friends and have those conversations, which is good. It's something that you really need to have. And then lastly, Chef, you hit around the head with Bruce Lee, but for me, it was Denzel Washington, listening to, kind of his story and where he's come from, his background, a lot of his quotes, I embolize and really just take from his passion, his, not only what he displays as a character or as an actor, but also as he is as a man, who he is as a father, who he is as a husband, and who he is as an activist, kind of certain character traits you can take from that and really put in perspective. So those are some of the mentors that I have in my life that have helped me get to the position where I am today.
Thank you guys so much. I just want to say this is great. Like, I'm getting so much out of this. This is amazing. So on to our next question. Most desire to become iconic and leave behind a legacy forever to be remembered. However, there are only a few that could achieve this. Those that achieve icon status, they usually have a mentor or somebody that helped them along the way and teach them tough lessons many are not willing to listen to. So this is another open-ended question. What is one of the toughest or most valuable lessons one of your mentors have taught you?
For me, I can take a shot. For me, it was the value of being patient. I think, when you're young, you're kind of impressionable and you want the awards, you want the accolades, and you want to be seen, and you want to be noticed, especially in our generation, Isaiah, where everything's very fast paced and there's a variable reward. You want to be seen. So understanding that things take time, and especially in our profession, right? It's not going to happen overnight, and if it does, it's not sustainable. And learning that things are going to slowly progress. One of the reasons why I went down to Miami, Florida, I want to work on cruise ships. My parents have been on 30 plus cruises, and I got down to Miami, Florida, and I had a mentor by the name of Chef Kevin Kopsick, who was my advisor in school. And he actually worked on cruise ships, and he steered me away from that. He said, Ashten, let's do something else. And he actually was the one to push me to go to Italy and spend my abroad experience there. And I'm very, 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 very appreciative of that, because if I would have cornered myself in just one avenue, I wouldn't have had the experiences that I have today. So it's very important to understand that you're patient and that things are going to take time. And it's good that they take time, because those early onset of lessons are going to help you adjust to whatever problems, whatever initiatives, right? No one could have prepared for COVID, right? No one at all. And having that ability, to say, like, if you did a crash course or try to speed race through something, you wouldn't have been prepared for that. We all had to be adaptable, but it's very important, to understand that, okay, this is a slow process and that things are going to take time. And you need to learn that, early on, especially as a young culinarian, a young professional. And for me, that's what really, something that was tough, because I want it all. I want to be, I want to be the top chef, especially coming out of culinary school, man. The expectation is you're going to be an executive chef, a corporate chef, you're going to own your own businesses, everything like that. And, your first job, homie, chef de partie or apprentice, right? I just spent 4 years, and these are conversations that need to be had, especially at that level. When you're coming out of high school or you're in college right now, or you're in culinary school right now, understand the reality and understand the perception. Right. And those are two different things, and something that I had to learn, which was very, very, very difficult for me, especially being an African-American male, trying to dominate in this industry and not seeing so many role models like myself, which was good, and it taught me honestly to grow up fast, which was good. So that was one of the, the earliest, toughest lessons for me, but being adaptable and adjustable has really just helped me, and just, remaining patient.
Yeah. Chef Lam, I know you have some words.
Hey, I'm listening, and the beauty of this podcast, if you look at it, both you guys, and think about the age difference between where I'm at and where you guys are starting.
Mhm.
When I started, it's a different era, different generation. The world, the business, meaning I was at an era in a time that was right. That window was right, meaning being mentored at the Ritz for 4 years in a way that created my foundation, made so many mistakes. And I look back at it and I'm like, I was so happy because for every mistake that I made, I had a coworker and I had a chef taught me the right way. So if they did not correct me when I kind of became a clown, I would not be who I am today. And right now, I look at become fluid. And what I mean is you're an artist. And think about the first thing I said to you. I wanted you to be an engineer. The best thing about being an engineer is you create solutions that most people can't. So right now, if you talk about, failing, mistakes, those are the best. So when you're young, the more you kind of get goose egg and you're like, what the blank just happened? Now you see around your team, does anyone love you? Is someone going to show you the right way? Or they're just going to be like, look at you, man. You made a sauce and now you added too much roux. Now you ruined it, right? So to me, I look at it, and for me to be able to connect with the two young chefs right now, that's beautiful. Because think about the age gap. You have the veteran chef and you have the young chef, and usually they clash because of ideas, but they clash because you have to communicate to an individual. Just like when I started, I was like, my data, mine was zero, but then I read a lot. I ate foods around the world. Then it educated me like, okay, now I was able to understand when someone taught me. So the thing is, you have to be a sponge. So for me, it's saying, think about legacy and icon. Well, I consider myself an icon. Why? Because I enjoy working with people, right? So it's not just the cooking part. The cooking part's the easiest part because you're going to meet chefs if they want to share with you. Do they want to share that creme brulee, that Caesar salad dressing, the clam chowder, or they're not going to share that with you? So for me, it's about yourself. So it's a mindset that you have to have where you're titanium. And if you have that, then the journey is so beautiful because you're going to learn so much about yourself. But getting to that stage, someone like a Yoda has to show you and say, hey, young punk, I know you want to conquer the world, but let me tell you what reality is. And here's the last thing. I am a cancer warrior. So 6 years ago, cancer came into my life and I didn't know if I was going to live or if I was going to die. And that brought me to another level where I was like, woo, but then no one could bring you to that level. You have to say, do I want to be that dragon chef icon? No one else. So you have to really look at yourself and say, do you want to be like everybody else, like in the pack? Or do you really want to make a difference and create solutions? So that would be my 2 cents for you guys.
Yeah, and Chef, I love what you said about being a part of the pack or being different, because it's easy to kind of fall into the track of being the way everybody else is and getting into that path. So when you choose to separate yourself and when you have mentors that will discipline you for or say, hey, don't do this, for falling off of the track, that's, to me, is like one of the most important things of mentorship. So I love your point on that. So on to our next question. Like I said, it can be difficult to hear what we need to improve on oftentimes, to get critiqued and have criticism, but it's so essential to the success and growth of in our industry, especially. So equally as important as it is to be mentored by somebody else, it's super important to have somebody that you mentor and kind of like share the wealth almost. So on to our next question. Have any of you guys took under a chef under your wing and became their mentor? And then if so, how did you meet your mentee?
Go ahead, Chef.
Well, you know what? My chef Dragon Warrior, he's a student of CIA, and he's the Hulk. And the beautiful thing was we mentor each other. And we mentor each other first with martial arts. He loved martial arts. I love martial arts. And we used to, before coming to work, just have a workout, have a workout, do a little sparring. Then we would go to Chinatown. Then we would eat. Then we would eat this food that it was like, oh man, it's so beautiful, So to me, mentoring is you mentor each other. But then because you have something that you love and you inspire each other, but it's hard to mentor someone when they don't have an open mind, right? So if you think about our industry, we have no borders. So when we wear the white jacket is a powerful statement that says, guess what? You respect food, you love food, you share food. It's not me, and being selfish and, whatever, I'm going to be this great. No, it's about sharing. So for me, the people that I met are the ones who are willing to share and who are willing to learn. So to me, when I, look for a mentee, it's very easy. But I don't have to say a question. Their action and their movement tells me so much. And that is the beauty of a mentor, right? You know that person from a book. You don't even have to read the whole story. I could look at you and I could peg you and I could say, boom, 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 boom. But then if you doubt it, I'm like, all right, look in the mirror, my friend. You're not being true for yourself. So if you can't be true to yourself, then your food doesn't have love. It doesn't have soul. And it becomes like everyone else. You copy everybody else's idea and you never have your own signature dish of like, whoa, woo, baby, that's some good stuff. That takes a lot of heart and a lot of support from people of all diversity to help you.
Oh, that's so true, Chef. And but before I say my piece, I just want to say, man, it's an honor to sit here with you today, and knowing that you had to struggle with cancer and everything. I've had cancer plague with my family, so I just want to say congratulations to you. It's a true honor. But for me, Isaiah, to your question, man, with the mentee, besides yourself, it's kind of a surreal experience to be in the position to help someone younger than myself, and see myself in them. Chef, you made a great point about sharing that experience, right? Having that commonality with them. You need to know them before they even know themselves. You need to see where they're going before they can even see themselves. And I think as a mentor's job, one of the best positions that you can do as a mentor is just to guide them, right? And that's really what it is. There's 3 tiers, to that I've learned over the years, is that you can have a mentor, a coach, and a teacher. And it's very important that you kind of categorize these 3 people in your life. If you're, a mentee, teacher that are there to often give you the education, give you the knowledge. Mentor is really going to hold your hand, guide you through different steps, kind of alleviate their problems and alleviate what their mistakes were to kind of, tell you where to go. And then a coach is really just to motivate you and to help you propel in any sector of your life. So having the mentee that I'm with now, he's really in high school, this is his high school year. I met him as a junior, and really kind of seeing his passions and really, it was emblematic to what I did as a meeting Chef Stephen Beatty when I was in high school. So it comes full circle. When you give good out, you're going to receive good in. So having that ability to, go through the trials and tribulations that I did, I don't want him to make those same mistakes. And if he does make those same mistakes, how can we adjust and how can we learn, and adapt to become better? I think one of the biggest things that as generations pass down and as you pass knowledge down is that, you know, you want to leave it in a better place. You know, like one of the analogies that we always say in culinary, rather in culinary schools, you want to leave something better than what you found it. And the next person that's going to come behind you leave, and it's a wash, rinse, repeat, it's a cycle. So having that ability to say like, hey man, like this is what we're going to do. How are you going to do it? You're in high school right now. Where do you want to go? And then we just create an action plan, a game step, much like mise en place. You know, you have everything in your steps and positions. We're going to go from A to B to C to D, right? It's a procedure. And having that ability, you know, to say for someone who's in high school right now, and you see the passion, you see the fire, you know, it's amazing, you know, to kind of have that ability. So that's for me, that's my mentee.
Chef, I love what you said, leave something better than when you found it. And I think that if everyone went by that I guess that quote that you said, the world, like it'd be not even like the industry, the world would be like a better place, leaving the next generation to with those words, with that advice. Like this industry, this world could be so great. So I love what you said there. So this has so far been very powerful, very inspiring. But I wanna end it off with one last question. What is the best piece of advice one of your mentors has given to you? And if there's an aspiring chef that is looking for a mentor, how can they find a mentor, and how can they become a great mentee?
I can go off, Chef, and then you can close us home. So I'll be real quick with mine. First three things that I've learned, you know, kind of some things, and I'll go into how you can find a mentor. First thing is study the greats and become greater. Chef Lam, you mentioned how you read a lot. You know, that's something that I've been in the premise of doing, you know, since my early onset of being in this profession. Just read. And, you know, leaders or readers, especially in our industry, you know, like there's no limitations, you know, to what you can learn. You know, like there's no plethora of or no limitation in culture or food or cuisine, right? You can just learn so much, and just, you know, study the greats and become greater. If there's a chef that you want to learn from them, you know, and really just study them. Never go to the grocery store hungry. It's my second piece of advice, and that's both literal and figurative, and from a figurative standpoint, you know, meaning that never go into a restaurant, never go into an establishment with an empty mindset. Always have an open mindset, you know, and always be adaptable in situations that are going to frame you to become better as a chef. And then the third is, you know, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So again, kind of going back on that open mindset, you know, never limit yourself just because of something's not up to standard or something's not up to code or whatever the case may be. You know, just look up from an open perspective, and really just be that sponge, like you said, Chef Lam. And to kind of close it home, how to find a mentor. There's so many different platforms, so many different places, but start in your own kitchen, start in your own hometown. One of the best advice I ever received being a young chef was, okay, you may not have the money to go to a big conference like an ACF or NRA or, you know, whatever the case may be, but start in your hometown. You know, if there's a chef or a concept or a restaurant that you really like, stage, right? You know, these are volunteer opportunities that you can do for free, just reaching out to the chef or the establishment and learn in real time what's really going on. And if that's not possible, save up your money, spend a week or a weekend going to, you know, your next big city, wherever it is. If you're in the Midwest, Chicago. If you're in the Northeast, New York. If you're in the South, Miami, Atlanta, whatever the case may be, go there and experience that and travel, and you can meet great mentors. And last thing is LinkedIn. You know, if you don't have a LinkedIn, you can just follow amazing chefs on LinkedIn and reach out to them that way. So, Chef, I'm going to kick it off to you, and then we can wrap it up.
Hey, you know what? I'm just going to speak from the heart and philosophy, principle. Mentee, we read, we study the philosophy and principle. At my stage in my life, I create my philosophy and principle. And the reason why I do that is I say, you know what? I'm confident that what I'm going to share with you or going to share with the chefs is to make you a better human being, meaning all the pitfalls of our industry that we see, but there are no solutions. So for me, it's really saying, for you to understand philosophy and principle, it's like you have to understand what mise en place is. You have to first understand what is sanitation, what is respect, what is safety, and what does it mean to be a professional? So you got to answer these 4s. So if you can't answer these 4s and live it, whether you put the white jacket on or you don't put the white jacket on, then you're just playing a character that, you're always not going to be grounded. You're not going to be real, because in our industry right here is presentation is who you are, right? And there's one thing that I loved working at the Ritz was ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And I always remember that. And to me, if you think about your circle of friends, who do you want? You know what I mean? Like, who do you want to be in that circle? So but you have to understand it's a branding, right? Everyone has their own image. Everybody wants to be outstanding or cool, but at the end of the day, it's all about simplicity, simplicity. And here's this: body, mind, spirit, and food. And I can tell you these right here. These are the hardest areas to be A+. So to me, if these areas are not A+, then the business of the environment and the culture and the turbulence will fracture you and it will burn you out. So one way, you have to be an athlete. You have to condition. So there's a reason why I did the things I did starting my journey way back when I graduated, and also my friends, because to this day, I don't look like a Chef Boyardee. So remember that. You wear this white jacket to represent who you are, not suddenly the business change you. And because guess what happens? You forgot you need a mentor too. So for me, it's the game